Hey, Homeworthy. I'm Donald Bingham Schmitt. I'm the interior designer for this beautiful home in Shaker Heights, Ohio. Come in.
Hi, I'm David. Welcome to my home in Shaker Heights, Ohio.
This summer, spend the hottest months of the year in style with Homeworthy as we visit the most extraordinary homes around the world. From the sun-soaked shores of the Hamptons to the classic beachfronts of Nantucket to the vibrant courtyards of Morocco, be sure to subscribe to Homeworthy's summer series to make every day feel like a vacation. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hey, good morning. I'm David Dusek, the homeowner. It's me and James Graham who've done the restoration here. This is Oscar. I'm fortunate enough to have taken early retirement, so I'm on some nonprofit boards and do a lot of volunteer work in Cleveland. One of which is our Cleveland Piano. It's our international piano competition, and a local ballet company, Ohio Contemporary Ballets. Welcome to my home.
Hi, I'm Donald Bingham Schmitt. I'm the interior designer for this home and a number of other homes for David and James. I travel all over the country in my work, and I'm based here in Cleveland, and today I'm sitting here in the home that is incredibly beautiful in Shaker Heights.
This house was actually on the market for about a year and a half, and I wasn't even planning on moving and doing another project. I don't think James was either, but we took a tour, and it's like the closest thing you can get to Europe in the United States. It was like, how can we not do this project? It's really an interesting house.
For me, I had no idea what it was about the house that spoke to me. I just knew that it was, something about it felt right to me for them. And what had happened, which was amazing to me, is years before, I would go to the opera, the ballet, anything here in Cleveland socially, and there was a woman there always, it seemed. She was very social, and she was truly a grande dame kind of woman, wearing couture, always immaculately presented, and her name was Miss Peckham. And I would always have a nice conversation with her, and I admired her. I thought she was really cool, but I knew nothing about her other than that. And one day here in the house, I was walking through, and on one of the doors there's inscribed the P and the P. And I said to somebody, I wonder what this is for. And they said, oh, that's Phyllis Peckham. That was her room. And that's Miss Peckham, the woman that I had admired and socialized with literally 40 years ago. And this is her house. She grew up in this house, and she lived in this house throughout her life. So that was pretty cool to have that connection. It, in some measure, explains the synchronicity that I had with this space. And I have a feeling that if she could communicate with us, she would say that she's quite happy and delighted the way things have played out. So welcome to the entry hall. The vision I had here originally was, the ceiling is vaulted, but you weren't aware of it originally. The lighting was, there were sconce lights on the walls. So we removed all the sconce lighting, put recessed lights down the center of the hall, because I knew that I was going to be designing a very specific runner for the entry hall. And the colors of the fibers in this rug were selected from the Oriental rug, which you'll see in the music room. We selected fibers to have this manufactured specifically to complement the carpet in the room we're heading toward. Also in here, one of the things we did that is really fun is we have a lot of these chinoiserie mirrors, lacquered red, Chinese red, and we repeated them because when they're entertaining, and there are a lot of people here, it's really beautiful to see all the people in the mirrors and all that with the crystal lights, etc. We took out the sconce lights, which left wall paneling that was damaged and had to be restored. We have a restoration specialist who came in, and no one will ever know where those lights were. And all of this paneling was restored to this color, this beauty. If you note, the ceiling is silver leaf. They're 4-inch leaves of silver paper, and we had to, I don't know if you've ever worked with silver paper before, but it floats. It's so light and airy that it floats. So this had to be tented so that while they were on the scaffold doing each individual piece of silver, sometimes they would float around, and it was really fun. But it makes for a very, very special ceiling as well. Right off of the entry hall is James's office. This is the office that I designed for James Graham. The paneling in here has all been restored. Some pieces were damaged, some pieces were missing. On the wall over here, you won't see it. There used to be a door that went into a bar off this office. That is no longer there, and you'll never know where that door might have been because restoring the paneling is so perfect that you can't tell. The other thing about this room is this incredible chandelier from Italy, and it's part of the impetus for the color scheme in here, the red and the orange. It's a Murano glass piece. We had it shipped from Italy here. And if you note the sconces on the wall here above the fireplace, I designed these to pick up on all of the colors of the Murano glass and the upholstery and all of that. And they're done in thin stripes, as is the ceiling done in a thin stripe, the chair, the sofa, and then the furniture, the desk, the cabinets are all custom made, red lacquer, have an Asian influence to the design, something that James wanted to be very specific about. In fact, we have a photo somewhere of the floor where it was all taped off so that everything would fit exactly into those spaces. So it's a very functional office as well as quite beautiful. The fireplace originally, when we came in here, was very dark, almost as dark as the brown on the exterior of the house. And David just knew that it was going to be beautiful, and it took forever, but with different chemicals and all of that, this got restored to its original beauty as it would have been originally 100 years ago. So next, we're going to head into the music room, which is at the end of the entry hall here. And so this is the music room. Originally, over here in the wall, it was a built-in pipe organ. The pipes were destroyed years ago. The organ was still there. We took it out because it was going to cost an excessive amount of money to restore it. It would not have been worth it. So that, again, is more paneling that was created currently for the house, and you would never know that it's new. It looks exactly like everything else in the house. Also, if you note, the scale of the panels in the wall describes the scope of the entire house. I went from that shape, that size, for all of our cabinetry throughout the house, which you'll see as we move through. So here is the walkway from the music room to the garden, and also we have a silver leaf ceiling and these wonderful, wonderful very, very artsy light fixtures that have jade and white glass and amethyst beads hanging from them. They're quite wonderful. And then they complement this amazing, and I keep saying amazing over and over, but this chandelier, we wanted something funky and kind of fun, not too over-the-top elegant. And there it is. And you come into the music room, there's music, the piano. When they entertain, they have violinists here and people performing. It's really quite the perfect room for the kind of entertainment that they do. There's a lot of seating in here. It doesn't look like it because the room is so big, but when they're having an event or a party, there's a lot of areas where people can sit and chat, which makes it very comfortable for a big group. But the big thing here is this staircase. If you look at the rail, all the iron, and how it goes up to the second level, and where we have the mural painted and that incredibly beautiful ceiling. The carpet on the stairs, the runner, was custom made, and it was using the colors that we selected from the other rugs in the house. So as we go through the house, there are a lot of elements that are repetitive, and that makes the house feel cozier and warmer. The fireplace here in this room, the marble is exquisite. And again, the lights, the sconces on the fireplace are to complement the lights in the hall at the back of the room. And they're very unique and quite beautiful. Also, when they entertain, and that's what this room was for, all of these window seats are available for people to sit and chat. I almost wish we were having a party now because the room would be packed and you'd see what I mean. From the previous home, we had in that home, these tuxedo sofas were part of that home, as well as these alligator chairs. And I found this great ottoman at the Baker showroom, and that literally became the impetus for using these pieces in here. And again, that'll seat 6 to 8 people, 10 people, 12, it adds up in here. Quite a few people can entertain here, even using the big ottoman. Okay, from here, we're going to head into the living room, the formal living room. Welcome to the formal living room. Let me start by saying that all of the floors throughout the house, and this would be a good example where you can see it, have been restored. Everywhere in the house, it's either a new floor or the old floor has been restored. And this is an example of how beautiful a floor can be when you restore it. This room started out being a bit of a problem to figure out how to design it. On the wall here, with this beautiful fabric, behind that fabric panel are bookcases. I didn't want to destroy the bookcases, but I wanted to have wall areas where we could hang art, because they have a large art collection. So we had the panels cut and made to fit, and then the fabric put over it with a felt padding behind it. So they're slightly soft, sound absorbing, and now they have areas where they can hang artwork without having to hang it on the paneling. And when you come into the room, I designed the layout to be conducive to small groups of people sitting together chatting in a room full of people, so that you have opportunities to move around and mingle and all of that. David loved the leopard carpet that I had used somewhere. I can't remember where I had used it, in another project somewhere, but he loved it and was hoping that we would do something here. And it was perfect that he had that feeling, because with this, it ties the room together and it feels like it's always been here, like it's part of what's going on here. And we did the purple line and then another line, which is actually a brown color. What I love about the room is something rather simple, but it's this drapery which picks up on all the colors. And they're on wands, so you can close them for privacy and or cozy feeling on a winter's night. And all of the furniture is what I would say is either collected over the years and or new. The sofas are from Baker. These wonderful lucite tables are literally from California. I don't remember all the details, but they're really fun. And the curved sofa in the curved window, all of it comes together to make for a beautiful room. This is incredible piece. So fun how it ties into the room and everything about their lifestyle. And if you move through here, you can see some of the artwork. This is an Osiki over the fireplace. Osiki was an artist in Cleveland who's quite well known all over the world. And we have his work. Also, we have these great jars from China that pick up on all of the colors throughout the house are based on this sort of decor. And then from here, you see the other walls where I did the fabric panels. And then this cabinet, if they didn't go with me on this cabinet, I was going to have to quit because this was just incredible. It's a piece from the Baker showroom. It's quite unique, quite amazing, and it houses a bar. So they have it locked because they don't want people drinking all their liquor, but it's a major part of how the room feels when you walk in. You're drawn to this. So then from here, we would go into the sunroom, which is right here off the living room. So here I am now in the sunroom, which is just off the living room, and it's again, it's wonderful because the overflow of people can come out here and sit on this grand pouf that we have, or the other furnishings. But what makes this really special is the wall covering. It was pieced together piece by piece in order to create a pattern that flows as if it was growing organically on the walls and ceiling. So it wasn't just a roll of paper applied, it was done piece by piece, floral petal by floral petal. That sort of effort was made on that. Then the trim was all painted to look like iron, and which is appropriate because of the window frames and all that. This light, we were so lucky to find this because it picks up on the petals of the flowers in the wall covering. And then the sconces along here are also very pale pastel peachy colored globes on a long stem. So the whole room speaks of garden and light, airy, wonderful in the winter to be out here. You know, there's something else I'd like to point out while we're in here, which again has been a lot of fun for me. This is the original floor. This is something we didn't have to change. We just cleaned it up. It's so perfect and so beautiful. And such a traditional kind of, it's what I would have done if it hadn't been here, I would have done this. So I was very excited that it was already here. I want to point out some of the fabrics for here. For example, this little painted chair. This is an embroidery pillow from Europe that I have just the one piece of embroidery for the chair. And the fabrics on the two wicker chairs are based on their garden. So you see the floral in the cushion, but then we have these wonderful needlepoint pillows as well.
Dad is intuitive when it comes to design, so nothing ever seems like a problem. Like one example is the first house we did, the one in Cleveland that was condemned. He said, I think we should paint the ceiling of the portico apple green. And we're thinking, apple green? Why? And when they started to take that apart and reassemble it, it was originally apple green. So he has some intuition with the house, and he just kind of comes in and puts it back together.
You know, when we started on this project, there was something about this house that resonated for me. I just had a knowing that they really needed to buy this house or quit looking for houses, because this was it. Somehow I knew that. And there's a whole history about the house and who lived here before and why I had that intuition. But when we were doing the specification for color on the exterior, the city of Shaker Heights, someone came by and said, oh, that'll never work, it's gaudy, it's this, it's that. It was their opinion. They have no real authority in that regard. But when we were prepping for the painting, the painters were freaking out because the base color of this exterior of this house is pretty close to exactly what I selected. So, you know, over 100 years ago, the house was pretty much the way you see it now. So next, I'd like to take you to the dining room. We'll pretend we're at a party and they've just announced the food is ready. Welcome to the dining room. This room is so elegant. Honestly, when we first started the project, it was not an elegant room at all. It was rather plain. So we added all of the French relief plaster to the ceiling, and from a company called Fisher & Giroux, which was hundreds of years old here in Cleveland, doing plaster detailing, and they just recently went out of business after over 100 years. So thank God I got that part done before they were gone. The wall covering is a chinoiserie pattern, but what I wanted to do was keep it neutral so that their art would stand out. They love fresh flowers, the furniture, the ceramics. Even though the wallpaper is a pattern that might be considered busy, it's the neutral color of it. And it's a strié, so it has a great texture. Again, the Schoenbeck chandelier and sconces are something we had to have. Or I should say, James Graham had to have, because he loves crystal. And so we did the room with that in mind on day one, actually. So from here, we would go into the breakfast room. Now here I am, I'm in the breakfast room. Come on in. The thing about this room is, it was, I don't know how they used it, but we added the plaster detail to the ceiling, and of course all the new lighting throughout the house. The details with the crystal chandelier here. The chaise lounges, which are so decadently elegant on either side of the fireplace. Wonderful place to sip a coffee or tea when there's a fire in the fireplace. These oval windows give a lot of charm to the space. And this painting is original to the house. It was here on day one when the house was first built. I had it removed and I sent it to Bonfoy, which is a company, a restoration company here in Cleveland. They're known all over the world for the quality of their restoration work, and they restored it. So now we have this beautiful painting that it's over 100 years old. This is another thing that's kind of wonderful. I used to have a gallery, and in my gallery I sold ceramics from Europe, and these are from there. And they just fit as though they've always been here. They're just great. James collects a lot of different little things, and this was a collection of his mother's. So we redid this cabinet in a Matisse yellow to complement the green in his collection. So everything that I do has some thought associated with it or some reason why I'm doing it. It's never really random, although it may look that way. From here, I'd like to take you into the butler pantry. And the thing about the butler's pantry, let me tell you before we get there, it was enormous. Because back then, the homeowner never went there. It was all for the staff. So we had this enormous space back here, and we took it apart, got rid of all the old cabinetry, all the old stuff. We're still here, the original freezer, all that, and put in this bar area, butler's pantry for entertaining. James collects beautiful dishes and crystal and that sort of thing. So I designed this cabinet with this specific kind of lighting it doesn't glare, it's not in your face, and this incredible lacquered finish. It's designed to look as though it's a piece of furniture just sitting here, but it's actually built into the wall. It's a custom piece, and it turned out amazingly. The crown molding on that, if you can see it, the way it's stepped, is not anything traditional, but it was something that felt appropriate to the scale of the glass windows and all that. And again, this gets back into the scale of the wood panels that I was talking about earlier. So this is the butler's pantry. So from here, let's wander on into the kitchen. If you notice, this countertop is the same height as the windowsill. As you come into the kitchen, the countertops are all at the same height as the windowsills. That means that we had to raise the height of all the appliances to accommodate that. But we wanted to be able to use the windowsills for fresh flowers and entertaining and that sort of thing. This is their table that we made, and that's a bronze base with a foot at the bottom that we had custom made to hold the table. There's steel up under here to keep it sturdy and secure. The other thing is, you can't really see it, but built into the cabinet is outlets for electrical and charging your phone and all that. So when they come home in the evening, they can leave everything here. And this is their kitchen with the beautiful appliances that are the best of the best. I was talking earlier about the wood paneling and the scale of the wood panels, etc. So all of this cabinetry was based on that scale. And for example, this used to be a wall here, and this was another entry, so we blew all that out and then put in all the cabinets. They are a color called cassava melon, and the reason I did it is because it evokes sunlight. On a dreary, rainy day, this kitchen feels very light and cheerful. It's not a true white. It feels as though the sun is shining in on the windows. It's hard to see today because it is a sunny day, but that's why we chose the color in here to be more neutral. The floor is a black stone, and for fun, I took green stone tiles and randomly threw them in around the floor. I'm not sure what reason that I had for doing that, other than I thought it would look cool, and it does. Well, as you come around the island, then this is the area of the kitchen for the cleanup from a dinner party or whatever. There's also a dishwasher in the bar for crystal and that kind of thing. Again, the view from here to the garden is you know, it's just wonderful. Anywhere you go in the house, you see this incredible garden.
You know, my favorite part is because it's the closest thing you can get to a European. I mean, it's like an English country manor. I was in Ireland a few years ago, and I took a picture of a public building, and it's the same ceiling that's in the entry hall. You know, the woodwork, it's, you know, the little secret passages, things like that. It's just a fun place to live.
The other thing about this house that's interesting, I think, is it 5 or 7 safes?
It's 7.
7 individual safes throughout the house, of which we know 4 or 5 of them are empty. The other ones, we don't know what might be in those safes. They're locked, and we haven't figured out quite how to get into them. But if there's a lot of money or jewelry in one of the safes, I'm saying now that Miss Peckham told me it was for me.
There's a main safe room in the basement. I think that it probably bootlegging and parties and whatever took place here. It must have been a lot of fun. There's a room in the basement with a massive safe, and it's bars everywhere, so they were probably, you know, into the party scene and bootlegging and whatnot.
So from here, we're going to go upstairs. We're going to go to the ballroom. It's going to be a ball, trust me. Here we are at the top of the stairs, just outside this incredibly wicked ballroom. But I wanted to show you the stairway that people come up when they're having an event or a party here. The light is very dramatic, very theatrical. The colors are rich and inviting. And you come from there to this top of the stairs, and you come back this way into the ballroom, which is huge.
Yeah, the ballroom is a lot of fun. This was their entertainment back then, or when they built the house. The fun thing about the ballroom is the original player piano is there. It still works. A few months ago, when the piano tuner came to tune it up, he noticed signatures over the years. So almost 100 years ago to date, somebody wrote their name and said, this was the second time I've tuned this piano this year. And it's a player piano, so I have a ton of rolls. They're over 100 years old. Most of the music, I don't even know what it is, but it's an incredible part of the house. Here we've been doing benefits for like Border Light. We have the Fringe Theater Company, the Dance Company, Ohio Contemporary Ballet. We had a book signing, on and on and on. The nice thing about this space is when we first got the house, the main kitchen wasn't finished. They put in a small kitchen up here. Now that serves as a catering kitchen. So if you have an event here, everything can be stored and cooked and warmed and whatever to service this room. Again, all the lighting in here. This is original up in here. The sconces are from Corbett. They work perfectly in this space.
Yeah, they're very theatrical. One of the things that we did in here, if you look at the lights here, they're painted to be as if this was an old theater. The detail is incredible.
Don wanted us to do the pool table in pink, and three guys came in here to refelt it. And one of them turned around and he says, you know, after 35 years of doing this, nobody's ever done pink, but I love it.
And everything in here, the chinoiserie fabric on the benches, the pillows, the pool table, the colors of the ceiling, all of that, were based on this Stark rug. It's very old, but it's very, very fine rug. And it is perfect in a ballroom like this. You should see the room when they have the round tables up with the chairs and the tablecloths and flowers and this carpet. It's truly elegant. So what I did back here, this drapery, we had the drapery made for the curtain for the stage. It's an extremely heavy velvet, so it's very rich and it's just incredible. And the color here is a neutral color. It's a lilac, which doesn't really stand out that much with the pink, but it's neutral enough that if there's someone performing or whatever, it doesn't take away from the performer. And then with the dressing rooms on each side, this truly is a theater. And the other thing is, in the floor are the little pop-up lights to light the stage.
Well, and next I'll take you into my office. It's actually one of my favorite rooms. I feel like a ship captain in there. All windows face out over the yard, so when I'm hardly working, I sit up there with the dog and observe.
Now we are in David's office. This room was ugly, to say the very least. And I'm going to ask David to talk about the transformation because it's his office and I know that he loves being in here.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite spaces. When we got it, it was you had the brown brick, the red brown brick. It was like a little cave. Don suggested that we paint out the brick, which I'm not really a fan of painting brick, but when they did it, the woodwork popped. It's pretty incredible. These are the windows here. This was originally on the blueprints the smoking room, so people could come out here if they were performing in the ballroom or the guests close the doors and have their cigarettes or whatever. This painting here is actually a student of Toulouse-Lautrec, one of my favorite artists. I was lucky to find it. This is actually an English roof tile. You'll find these on peaks of houses in England.
But let's go to the primary suite. Now we are in the primary suite. Originally, this was a bunch of rooms. There were 4 rooms back that way that were bathrooms and dressing rooms and closets. This was the bedroom for the homeowner. It is now the dressing room, the wardrobe, if you will. Custom-built closets, custom furniture. This piece of furniture has like a foot on it, but it's actually built into the house now. But it looks like it's floating. The chandelier is something they had, and it has a story. David, what was the story on that again?
The chandelier was from a house that was demolished in Grosse Pointe, Illinois, and a friend of ours picked it up at an antique store years ago. When we went to pick it up, we didn't know how to transport it because nobody knew how to take it apart. So we wound up getting a giant like a dishwasher box and then filling it with and hanging it and whatever. When I got it home, a friend of mine said, "Oh, you just unscrew it from the bottom." And the whole thing came apart so we could have it restored. But this is the 3rd house it's been in. But it's a great piece. It's from New York.
So the other thing about this room is the furniture was, I designed the closets and all of the furniture to be as if they were actual pieces of furniture. And the hardware is incredible in these spaces. The other thing that happens here, and this has to do with what I was talking about before, about the panels and the size of everything being coherent throughout the house. This level is level with the height of the window. It normally would be lower than that, but I wanted everything to follow the window ledge as it does throughout the house. So that's something you wouldn't necessarily notice, but it is something that's relevant because now the doors look very custom. In order to do this room, we had to take out a wall here, but that meant we had to put in all kinds of steel reinforcements, and it was a huge project. So the results are that we designed this cabinetry to divide the rooms, and it also helps to hold up the ceiling with the new steel beams and that kind of thing. So it gives them a lot of extra storage. And you come around this way into the sleeping room. This was an outdoor sleeping porch when we started everything. And so we gutted it, put in all new window frames. The floors are new. The whole room is now a cohesive part of the primary suite. And this is their bedroom. The floating cabinets, the furniture. These chairs are, again, they're Baker. They're based on Louis XV kind of style. And I think it works with the mix of contemporary and traditional and elegant. This is a family heirloom that belonged to James's mother. And so we brought it up here. And it ties it all together really beautifully.
There's Oscar. Notice how he never uses his bed. He's always up there. This is what Pyrenees do during the day. They're pretty much nocturnal. They're up during the night barking at everything. The fun thing about this room too is we wanted to convert this into a sleeping porch because you have a view of the parks. There's the Shaker Nature Center. This is North Park over here. There's another park on the corner. So when you wake up, all you see is parkland.
This is the primary bathroom. This wall covering is from South Africa. It's part of an art enclave in South Africa where they promote the indigenous art of the people. And I love it, and we based everything here on this paper. Even this soft watercolor of the blue is in the room. It's in the bedroom. In the bedroom, even the ceiling is lacquered so that it has a bit of a sheen. And if you come through here, you're in their primary bath. Again, floating cabinets. The scale of the doors, etc., is appropriate to the house in total. These are full slabs on the walls. This marble floor is just beautiful, the marble mosaic. Behind this mirror are water closets, one on each side. This is a beautiful piece of hardware. As I think I said before, we've used the Dornbrock fixtures throughout the house in every area. Very elegant, very beautiful. So again, this cabinetry is floating, and on this side, we wrapped it around so that there's actually a place here to sit at a mirror for makeup or anything like that you might need it for is there. And it brings you back to the exit out into the primary bedroom. I wanted to come around to the front of the house from the back gardens because I wanted to show you how the trim, the portico, the shutters, the window trim, all of that ties into the landscaping. So the house feels very a part of the entire property. And as it turns out, like I had said earlier, these colors were very close to being exactly what was here originally. So I'm kind of excited that I had that intuitive knowing that this would be appropriate. Also, you can see then all of this landscaping around here is new. So it's been a big, big project to do the front landscaping. And if we can walk around here, I'm hoping that this area, the round, will become a meadow for birds, bees, whatever, hummingbirds. I spoke with our landscape design person about that, and I think eventually this will become that. But you can see all of the grasses, the plantings, how beautiful the architecture is. Originally, this was all just dark brown, and you really had no idea that it was so incredibly beautiful. Then we have the pea gravel pathway, which was installed as part of the landscaping project all of this landscaping, including the pine trees and the trees along the border at the street, are new. And the idea is, as they grow, the house will have more privacy from the street, which it did not have before. And if you come through here, it's quite beautiful. When they entertain, people are everywhere on the property. And this is really so beautiful, this little area. I like to come here and sit and just chill for a while. The favorite part of all of this for me is that piece on the front of the house. From the street, when you approach the house, that pops out as an example of the excitement that the homeowners have for restoring the property to its original beauty with gardens and wonderful architectural details.
Welcome to the backyard. This fish pond was an original part of the garden. This was this was a sculpture garden. Somebody explained to us that they had marble statues lining it. When we bought the house, there was absolutely no landscaping back here, so all the plant material has been installed. The fish pond was filled in, and we had it dug out, skimmed. The darn thing still leaks, though. It makes me crazy every year. You have to find the leaks before you can actually enjoy it. And over here, we put in a small orchard along on the back of the greenhouse. The fountain here was actually original, but there was little or no plant material. All these beds were full of ivy. There were some mature rhododendrons. We tried to keep those. Actually, they responded beautifully to a little attention. We put in some fruit trees. We put in 2 pear and 2 apple. The only thing is all the fruit goes to feed the squirrels and the birds, but that's okay. Well, across the street is the Shaker Heights Nature Center, which is an incredible facility. I forget how many acres, but there's pathways, they're putting it back to the indigenous plant material. So all that wildlife spends some time in our backyard, which is great. I have bird feeders, possum, raccoon, deer, turkeys. It's a great place. Now, this is where a lot of the tropicals come out from the greenhouse in the summertime. Our growing season is probably till the end of September. That's when some of the plants start coming back in. So there's some banana trees here and there, cannas, callas. I like to do the perennials back here. My grandfather was a big gardener. He kind of did the English style, so I think I follow in his footsteps. Just big masses of plants. Oh, come on into the greenhouse. This is where I store my tropicals in the wintertime. This is not the original structure, but when they built the house, the greenhouse was here. It was twice the size. They would actually have the servants bring, flowers and whatever into the house. I collect philodendrons. Actually, they're the favorite with these giant leaves. Most of the things are outside right now, and they get put back in the wintertime. I also like anthuriums. And I just love these crazy philodendrons. This leaf is about 4.5 feet long. The only thing is they're taken over.
I think of a home as being an awareness that you come to. Hopefully people will come to the awareness that it is your safe place and it's your place of continuity and the place that you allow your memories to collect. It's not just walls and brick and all of that. It's a story of your life. The garden, the trees that grow, all of it becomes a big part of what home means to me.
I don't know, it's funny you mentioned safe, because that was one of the first things I thought of. I think a house is like sanctuary. It's like where, it's like an extension of you. It's whatever you make it, but I think it really is like an extension of, like my crazy personality. There's, running around and, gardens.
So long, Homeworthy. Thank you so much for coming and videotaping and photographing this incredible project of mine here in Shaker Heights. It's been a labor of love, and it's been exciting to bring this house back to life. And I'm so honored that you wanted to come and share it with me.
Homeworthy, thank you so much for coming out. I love to share the architecture of beautiful Shaker Heights, Ohio. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.